Hi everyone, I'm Catherine, the artist behind Bigelow Fine Arts. I'm continuing my journey through the Enchanted Forest on this lovely spring day following the map and directions. I see many wonderful sights and an owl peeking down at me as I follow the meandering trail through the forest. Come join me on my journey through the Enchanted Forest to discover the mystery that awaits in the castle at the center. Welcome to part 17 of the beginner lesson. If you've been following along, you should be proud of yourself. We've made great progress. The page is almost done. There aren't too many more lessons left before it is complete. Today I'm going to start on the last of these sunflowers. Not that there were a ton of them. I'm working them up with the same colors, coming in with the dark cadmium yellow at the base of the petals to begin darkening them up. Working these up with the same colors will help balance the page. This isn't something I talk about because I didn't even realize I'm doing it, but I noticed that I was selecting colors that seemed to balance with colors on the other side of the page. Just a little something to think about and notice when watching or participating in other color-alongs. Have you subscribed yet? It helps keep you informed of when I post new videos as well as join in on the color-alongs. I have palettes and timestamps available for everyone in a Patreon post, so go check that out if you want the whole list of colors. There are a couple of petal tips that I missed. I will get to them later, but feel free to color them in now. For the tips of the petals, I am coming in with light chrome yellow and filling them in with several layers. The tips will only have this yellow on them, so I want to make sure I put down a couple of layers to get a good fill. Light colors do take the same amount of layers as dark colors. It is just harder to tell, especially when they are not very bright. To darken up the base of the petals, I come in with the light cadmium red and add in a light layer. I feather the color out to about the halfway point of the petals, which is about where I stopped with the dark cadmium yellow. I do want to make sure that it is dark at the very bottom of the petals, so I go over that area a few times for additional layers. I will work up the second row of petals the same, making sure I am getting the color all the way down between the petals on the first row. Then I will move to the second flower and layer in some color there too. For the little circles on this second flower, I thought it might be fun to make them a dark red. So I am filling them in, trying to stay within the tiny confines of these circles. I should have sharpened my pencil. I now want to go through and begin blending the colors and refining them a little more, as well as make sure I have enough layers. With the dark cadmium yellow, I am blending out the light red I just added and making sure to cover the gradient. I also work the color a little further up than I took the light red to make sure it looks smooth. And if I go over the tip of a petal, I just lightly erase it back. I now want to blend the dark yellow with the light chrome yellow and also make sure the tips of the leaves are completely covered with pigment, especially where I had to erase some color back. I do tend to press a little harder on these blending layers, but not so hard that I am indenting into the paper. I blend in more light cadmium red to darken the base of the petals more. I can also fix any issues with the gradient should I need to. And with the sepia, I can add in shadows, which really helps bring up the contrast and makes the flower pop more. I really want to make sure I am getting the sepia down between the petals and at the base of each row of petals. I will also add a shadow where anything is overlapping with the flower as well. And here's where I notice those few petal tips peeking out from behind the leaf, so I come in with the light chrome yellow and give them a base layer to cover. I then add in a little dark chrome yellow at the base, followed by a touch of light cadmium red, and now I can finish working the shadows up with the sepia. Moving on to the centers, I give them a light layer with the bistre. I'm just focused on coverage and nothing more. With the nougat, I add in another layer, but here I begin to think about shaping and I add in a few extra layers to the outer part of the center where it would be darker. I also add in extra layers where the one flower overlaps the center of the other flower and there would be a shadow. I accentuate the shaping with the walnut brown, adding in more layers, mostly just where the shading and overlaps are occurring, but also making sure to have a smooth gradient when I am adding the color. And finally, I want to get the contrast up with sepia. I put down quite a few layers with the walnut brown, helping with the shaping and shading quite a bit, but I do find that the sepia really adds to the contrast and brings out the highlights even more by really darkening up the shadows. I now go through and blend out the whole center with the warm gray too. It helps smooth the color a little and blends everything together a bit more. If you enjoyed coloring along or maybe just watching this page come together, I'd love it if you'd give me a like. It really helps me out. I post 3 times during the week and subscribing is the best way to stay in the loop. I have blog posts on Patreon for everyone to see with a short write-up, my palettes, and a list of the chapter breaks. If you have any questions or page requests, please leave them below or reach out to me on social media. I put a list of chapter breaks in the show notes as well as a list of equipment I like to use. If you use any of my affiliate links, it really helps me out without costing you a thing. Now onto the leaves attached to the flowers. I am again working them up with the same colors as the other flower leaves, coming in with a light base layer of the light phthalo green. I'm not a fan of this color, but it works for this page, especially when blended with other colors. I begin adding shaping to the leaves with the emerald green. This includes adding in a shadow where the leaves are curling, as well as along the rib and at the base of each section and leaf. Onto the hooker's green, where I will darken up the shadows at their darkest spots and feather out the color to get a smooth gradient. I decided to make the center rib dark, so I fill that in with the hooker's green and anywhere there is a double line, like some of the side ribs. On to blending, and I come back in with the light phthalo green and blend out the colors as well as add in more layers to the highlights. This darkens the leaves, but I will be adding more to the shadows and increasing the contrast to help. When I darken the highlights, I have to darken the shadows just as much, if not more, to make sure everything stays at the same level of contrast at the very least. So right now the leaves look a little flat, but with sepia, I'm going to go through and add in some darker shadows that will change the leaf and make it look less flat. I add in the sepia where there is overlap and at the base of the leaves, but I am also adding it in at the bottom of each little section. I now come back with the hooker's green, and where I placed the sepia, I am adding in a layer of hooker's green to blend out the sepia and darken the shadows again. And already the leaves look less flat. They have more visual interest. And that is it for now. Thanks for joining me on this adventure today. Please let me know below or on social media if you colored along. I'd love to know how you did. I believe in you and I know you can do this. I want to thank you all so much for coming along and joining in with me on this coloring journey. I appreciate all my subscribers and look forward to more of you joining in and coloring along with me. Please like, share, and subscribe to help that happen. Until next time, happy coloring.